Welcome to our Megaproject presentation of the challenge tackling the governance of circular economy, which is under the group of the Circular Region Megaproject, specifically the systemic change needed to achieve a circular region. There were 3 groups collaborating on this challenge, each with slightly different perspective of governmental levels. Group 1 focused on the municipal level within Aalborg Commune. These social science students explored how can Aalborg municipality's climate policies be explained through a policy theoretical perspective, and what sort of influence have these policies had on Aalborg municipality's green transition. They found an answer to their problem formulation by investigating the local policymaking in Aalborg municipality, concluding that a certain set of values often determine these policies. And in this case, Aalborg municipality's focus is to provide long-term solutions to circularity.
Group 2 focused on the EU and national level of circular economy. The students of construction management and building informatics focused on how can building information modeling support early design processes to enhance circular economy approaches within building projects. They investigated this topic through looking at the action plans and policies towards circular economy and how they are represented in the construction industry. They answered their problem formulation by proposing a solution of a collaborative standardized framework for circular processes within building projects.
Group 3 concentrates on EU and non-EU countries' cooperation in terms of SDGs.
The students of Development and International Relations investigated the cooperation of EU and non-EU countries, specifically with India in case of their project. The aim is to provide insight on EU internal processes of incorporation SDGs, as well as answer why and how is EU supporting circular economy policy in India. The project highlights the position of EU as an agenda provider to promote SDGs internationally. The group found that the cooperation was based not only on mutual benefits, but also complex interdependence and also self-serving interest. The students proposed the direction of future work in terms of EU-China relations and its impact on the relation with India.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the joint results that we had in our cluster, and basically we found some commonalities in terms of the SDGs that we're working with, which will shortly be showed on the next slide. And then we found out that we are working on different levels, but there is some overlaps in these levels. So we had a group working with the municipal level and the regional level, and then we had a group working on a more national and international level. But basically, even though there are these different levels, there is a work towards a common goal, and which is namely the underlying intent of enhancing circular economy policy and governance, both on a regional, national, and international level. So we found out that waste is a problem, and standard policies need to be applied to reduce this waste generation, and these policies need to come from somewhere. So that could, for example, be the international level that are prolonging these agreements to a more national level, and then they go on to a more regional level to implement these SDG goals. So the scopes and the topics of the project are very distant from each other, so a practical joint results are pretty much non-existent, but we did find these commonalities in terms of which SDGs the different groups are working with. As shortly mentioned before, on this slide you can see the implicated SDGs that the different groups have worked with. So we have group 1 who worked with SDGs 7, 9, 11, 12 and 17. Group 2 worked with SDGs 7, 11, 12 and 13. And then we have the last group who worked with SDG 11, 12, 13 and 17. Next to the table you can see a short presentation of the different SDGs and what they stand for. And basically the circular economy is put under SDG 12, which is responsible consumption and production. And every group in this cluster have worked with that in their projects, or it is a part of the projects. So we came to light to see how circular economy works on a more regional, national, and international level, as also mentioned in the slides beforehand.
Now, we've also considered how to continue this line of work. The biggest challenge here being trying to find common ground between our projects. The goal would be to try and find a common denominator between this more policy theoretical approach and the practical approach that we see from our respective groups. Now, one way to try and bridge this gap could be through a case study of an EU regional policy project. Now, this would touch upon all three levels of government, both the international, being on the European level, the national, and the regional local level. And it would also be possible to implement or incorporate building information modeling simply through picking a valid case.
So lastly, we want to discuss some of the overlaps between our projects in this mega project. Firstly, about sharing the information we have. That is something we have worked a lot on. We have provided information from our projects to other groups. For example, policies, found and analyzed literature reviews, and a timeline of action plans. And we have been able to use each other's work mostly for topic research, not much for actual contribution to solutions or conclusions in our projects. And the challenges we have faced during this mega project is mostly inconsistent project timelines, where some started in around September, and others had to change their project approach late in the process, like in mid-November, almost December, where some of the groups had to make a different approach. So they were only beginning when some others were almost finished. That also includes that there have been different deadlines for the projects. So one group had deadline at 18th of December, and some had in January. Another challenge we faced was working on different levels with different approaches. So we were working on a municipality level and an international level, and also a more theoretical enterprise level. And we also had different approaches. Mostly the inconsistencies is between whether it is the direct policy we were analyzing, or it was more of an approach to how to be more sustainable in working with something concrete. And that is our presentation for the mega project. Thank you very much.